During the next 30 minutes, we're diving deep into the foundations that shape our lives: adequate water supply, economic currents impacting our wallets, and the vital importance of nurturing our mental well-being. So stay with us as we examine the progress of major water and sewerage projects, keep a close eye on the forces shaping our economy, and discover practical ways to cultivate mental resilience and peace of mind. You are watching Jamaica Magazine. I'm Jabertha Atkinson. Welcome.
The Transport Authority for this renewal period has launched its online application system, and we at the St. James Taxi Association has found it to be very, very helpful. It saves time, it saves money, and it has also improved the service delivery to our membership. I want to encourage other associations out there who may for some reason be a little bit reluctant to come on board, get online, and increase the service to your membership. It's easy. ta.org.ja. Time is money. Renew online, save time. I am Deon Chance and I endorse this message.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, April 3, 2025. The Shared Prosperity Through Accelerated Improvement to Our Road Network, SPARK project, is expected to generate 13,000 direct jobs during construction. Minister with Responsibility for Works, Robert Morgan, says the road project should also deliver an estimated $1.3 billion in savings from vehicle maintenance, enhanced service accessibility, and strengthened community connectivity.
Will revolutionize road development and improvement in our country. The initiative will improve our economic efficiency, bolster our tourism appeal, and create employment opportunities.
The minister was giving an update on SPARK and other road projects during a statement to the House of Representatives on Tuesday. Work on the SPARK commenced in December 2024 following the award of a $45 billion contract. 3 work orders were issued covering 126 roads across the 63 constituencies, and on Tuesday, Minister Morgan announced an additional 42 roads set to commence under Work Order 4.
As much of the priority roads that were chosen by colleagues from both sides are included in Work Order 4. Because the previous 3 work orders were the roads that were scoped and were ready to give to China Harbor.
Work Order 5 is to be announced next week. SPARK was created to rehabilitate main, local, and community roads across the country, addressing pavements, select intersections, sidewalks, drainage, and retaining walls. The project will also integrate water infrastructure upgrades and fiber optic ducting to support future broadband connectivity. Meanwhile, the plan for the Port Antonio bypass is to go to Cabinet next Monday, April 7, for review. Minister with Responsibility for Works, Robert Morgan, made the disclosure during his statement to Parliament on Tuesday.
And I'm confident that it will have the support of the Cabinet so that it can commence in short order. Working with the Ministry of Finance to secure funding and expected to commence in the second quarter of this financial year.
The bypass, projected to cost $81 million, will span 7 kilometers with a 4-lane design and will provide an alternative route to ease congestion in Port Antonio's town center. Each lane will be 3.5 meters wide with 1.2 meter shoulders and a 1.8 meter wide median Jersey barrier. Additionally, the project includes 2 lane link roads to improve access between central and western Port Antonio.
Port Antonio is a critical hub for tourism and agriculture, but suffers from chronic traffic congestion, unsafe pedestrian conditions, and limited connectivity. This project will play a key role in the regional development by unlocking economic potential and enhancing mobility.
Minister Morgan also gave an update on the $575 million Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project, SHIP.
I can announce today that the project is 96% complete, with 2 major components: Part A, Maypens to Williamsfield Toll Road, and Part B, Harborview to Yallas Bridge, covering 7.4 kilometers of a 4-lane highway already open to the public. Works are progressing on the Yallas to Port Antonio and Morant Bay to Cedar Valley legs, which span 123 kilometers of two-lane roadway.
The Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs is moving to streamline legislative policy making across government ministries with a structured training program for legislative teams. Permanent Secretary Wayne Robertson says legislative teams are already in place across all ministries, comprised of policy officers, legal officers, and senior directors.
We have gone further to propose the institutionalization of a legislative policy development course, and we have convened a meeting with the Management Institute of National Development for that to take place. So we are preparing the ground for that. We have also started the process by convening workshops with the ministries with respect to legislative policy development.
Mr. Robertson says the move is aimed at increasing efficiency in the legislative review process.
What we want to do is to ensure that at the end of the day, there is speed and efficiency in terms of the legislative review process, but more importantly, the quality of laws that are promulgated are of a high standard.
44 professionals from across the 4 regional health authorities are the latest batch of graduates to have completed the Ministry of Health's Leadership Training Program. The program is aimed at preparing senior health management personnel to ensure greater organizational effectiveness and efficiency across the public healthcare system. It's delivered in collaboration with the University of Technology, providing graduates with professional certification in healthcare administration and leadership. These graduates bring to 122 the total number of healthcare workers that have completed the program since its inception in 2022. Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett says the recently unveiled new welcome sign for Falmouth honors the town's historic legacy. The Jamaica Experience sign, created by sculptor Sheed Cole, includes 2 storyboards and rum barrels, capturing the town's history of rum and sugar production.
It's a space that highlights Falmouth's inimitable history and gives it a modern twist, allowing locals and visitors to learn, experience, and appreciate all that this town has to offer.
The eye-catching sign is strategically located at Foreshore Road at the entrance to the town. The project was spearheaded by the Tourism Product Development Company Limited, TPDCO, and the Trelawney Municipal Corporation. And finally, planning is underway for the 49th regular meeting of CARICOM Heads of Government, which Jamaica is set to host in July. Jamaica's Prime Minister will assume chairmanship of CARICOM on July 1, and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, says trade and security are among the key issues to be discussed by the CARICOM heads.
Prime Minister has been calling for a more global approach to transnational crime and to looking at the links and the cooperative mechanisms that are needed in a more strategic way. So that is likely to be a major part of the agenda as well.
Minister Johnson-Smith was addressing a recent JIS think tank. She also pointed out that the upcoming CARICOM meeting would coincide with the International Conference on Financing for Development in Seville, Spain, from June 30 to July 3. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Having water problems? Can't pay your bill? Well, 2025 is your year. The National Water Commission NWC amnesty is still running. If you've been disconnected for 2 years or more unpaid water bills, or you're a pensioner, eligible path beneficiary with outstanding debts to the NWC, the government is giving a financial reprieve. The NWC will write off the debt totally and waive your reconnection fees. Water is a priority, and the government is offering relief to get you legally reconnected. To check your eligibility, visit the NWC website at www.nwcjamaica.com/bill_query.
Water, the lifeblood of our nation and sewerage, the essential system that keeps our communities healthy. That's why the government is investing in cutting-edge water and sewerage infrastructure, revolutionizing how we manage these vital resources. Let's take a look at some of the ambitious capital projects underway and still to come on stream.
This government has invested significant sums in water. As I now turn to the eye in Aspire, 150,000 Jamaicans now have improved water supply through our investments over the last 5 years. We are investing at a rate not seen since the 1980s, with public investments amounting to $22 billion and private investments in excess of $14.2 billion through public-private partnerships. The map shows work completed in fiscal year 2024-2025, shown in green, and upcoming projects for which procurement is in progress in white. However, I would like to make mention of a few areas underwater. This is a $28 billion 3-year project which will commence in May 2025 and reduce water insecurity and non-revenue water, and involves upgrading 28 kilometers of main transmission lines from St. James to Trelawney and 37.5 kilometers from Lucy to Negril. On completion, it will benefit over 250,000 residents and business customers and catalyze development in the key tourism sector. 6 major projects funded by the Caribbean Development Bank are being undertaken by the Rural Water Supply Limited, which will significantly improve access and transform the lives of more than 38,000 Jamaicans in rural areas of Southeast, Western St. Mary's, Southern Trelawney, Northeast St. Elizabeth, Eastern St. Thomas, and Northwest St. Anne. Currently, the Rural Water Supply Limited and the CDB are finalizing the necessary documentation for procuring design services, with the advertisement expected to be published in March 2025. The Greater Mandeville Water Supply Project, a $2.7 billion project, which is spread over 5 years. We are midway the 5 years. And this project will reduce non-revenue water to below 50%, increase service reliability and quality, given that we are now building out new housing schemes in Mandeville and other areas. The Ray Cobre Water Plant Project, something that we have been talking about from 2009. I'm pleased to report that it is now finally in the construction phase. Construction has started, and we are targeting completion by the end of 2026. The expansion of the sewer network in Kingston and St. Andrew is critical to the future development within the parish, both to facilitate greater densities and safeguard groundwater. This year, the NWC will be investing $1.4 billion into the laying of sewer lines along Monroe Road, Retreat Avenue, Seymour Avenue, and Old Hope Road. I have directed Minister Samuda to ensure that the project design for this massive infrastructure is done this year. I have further directed that $450 million be immediately deployed to the worst affected areas within the Market District to provide immediate relief. We have now started the distribution of the Black Tank program. MPs are now collecting and distributing tanks in their constituencies. We hope that that can move very quickly to mitigate any impact of drought that may occur later in the year. In November 2024, I announced that the NWC would provide an amnesty to customers cut off from the utility for more than 6 months. The amnesty has benefited pensioners, PATH recipients, and members of the disabled community, with up to 100% reprieve and up to 50% for other categories of customers. As at March 14, 2025, over 21,000 customers had engaged in the process. Total reconnections so far are 3,271, with a further 5,135 awaiting reconnections. This has yielded over $207 million in revenues collected for the NWC, and that would have been uncollectible otherwise. We have also written off over $600 million of debt from those who most need it, restoring the supply of water and returning dignity to those households. This government is helping our most vulnerable. As such, I have instructed the National Water Commission to extend the program for a further 2 months. We do this because we care about the people.
Ever wonder how the price of goods stay relatively steady or why the Jamaican dollar fluctuates? Well, today we pulled back the curtain on the central bank's role in managing inflation and foreign exchange, giving us the tools to understand our economy.
Hello, I'm Elan. Welcome to another episode of Inflation Watch, where Bank of Jamaica highlights the main factors influencing price movements in Jamaica. At January 2025, headline or annual inflation, which is the general rate of increase in the prices of goods and services as measured over a 12-month period by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, STATIN, was 4.7%. This is great news. Ta-ta! It means that inflation remained within the BOJ's target range of 4% and 6%, indicating low, stable, and predictable price increases for January 2025. Inflation in January 2025 was primarily driven by increased prices for some agricultural food, including fruits and vegetables such as ripe bananas, oranges, watermelons, dried coconuts, carrots, and tomatoes. Some starchy food like plantains, yellow yam, and green bananas also cost more than a year ago. In January, these agricultural products continued to be relatively scarce, resulting from bad weather in previous months. January's higher prices also reflected more expensive household rent, water rates, and fast food. Inflation at January was lower than the 5% recorded at December 2024 and generally lower than the inflation for most of 2024 and 2023. There was also a lower rate of price increases for most of 2024 compared to 2023 and 2022. This general decline in inflation was supported by BOJ's monetary policy decisions and stability in what business persons expect inflation to be in the future. That's called inflation expectations. Now, remember that BOJ's Monetary Policy Committee, or MPC, began easing monetary policy in June 2024 and reduced the policy rate paid on the current accounts that deposit-taking institutions have at BOJ from 7% to 6% per year, ending in December 2024. On the 20th of February 2025, the MPC decided to 1. Maintain the policy rate at 6% per annum, and 2. Preserve relative stability in the foreign exchange market. Now that you are up to speed with the factors that influenced inflation at January 2025, let's join BJ and Marcia for a discussion on the importance of relative stability in the foreign exchange market to effective inflation control.
You're up early, Marcia.
Yes, BJ. Have to start early. I need to go change some US dollars to buy goods. Just hope I get a good rate. By the way, you think the exchange rate affect inflation?
Yeah, man. The exchange rate affects inflation through the price of imported goods and indirectly through the price of raw materials that we import, affecting the final cost of goods and services. That is one reason BOJ always working to keep the foreign exchange market stable, so that it can help achieve the inflation target of between 4 and 6%.
So how the exchange rate really work though, BJ?
Well, the exchange rate is the price that we pay in Jamaican dollars for a US dollar. If the price go up, we say the rate depreciates. If it fall, it appreciates. The exchange rate is determined by demand and supply. If Jamaicans want more US dollars than what is available, the rate will depreciate. It appreciates when demand is less than what is available.
So BOJ involved in the market for US dollars?
Definitely. BOJ, as an independent central bank trying to identify the best policies to control inflation, buys and sells US dollars from time to time to close the gap between demand and supply. When this gap may cause movements in the exchange rate that could cause it to miss its inflation target, they do that using the BOJ foreign exchange intervention and trading tool introduced in 2017. It's one way to make sure there is no shortage or oversupply in the market. A stable foreign exchange system goes a long way in making sure there's low inflation that benefits everybody.
Sounds good, BJ. I'm going to cash in on my benefit right now. Next time.
All right, Marcia, later.
Very useful information there. Thanks, BJ and Marcia. That's a wrap for Inflation Watch, looking at the outturn at January 2025. Join us again next time when Bank of Jamaica will bring you another episode of Inflation Watch, where we track inflation and explore the factors influencing price changes in Jamaica. I'm Elan. Take care.
Keep your heart beating strong. Your health is your wealth. Practice healthy habits. 30 minutes a day keeps heart disease away. Choose life.
Up next, we turn our focus inward, exploring the vital importance of caring for our mental health and discovering pathways to tranquility amidst the chaos.
It's very important that we all take care of our mental health. Good mental health, mental wellness impacts on and will affect how we live within our family, interact with family members. When we enjoy good mental wellness, it impacts on how we function in school, function at the workplace, relate to members in our community, members at church, and the wider society. So it's very important for us to enjoy mental wellness. There are some important things that we need to do. First of all, take care of ourselves. Self-care is important. It's also important for us to establish high value, healthy social connections, yes? What we find is that people who live longer, live healthier on a daily basis are people who invest in good social relationships, with your family, with your friends, people at school, people at the workplace, people in your community of faith. So it's so important for us to find time to invest and to interact with people. It's also important for us to recognize that, mental illness can affect anyone in the community, anyone in our family, and that when we're not doing well, it's so important for us to seek help very early. I know we live in a society where there's a lot of negative attitudes, high level of stigma towards mental health and mental illness. But it's so important for us to, when we're having problems, when we're having difficulty, be it not sleeping well or struggling at the workplace, difficulty studying at school, or problems relating with others around us, indicate that we're having some mental health challenges, yes? And when these things are happening to us, it's important for us to seek professional help early. And in seeking professional help, it's so important that we choose people who are adequately trained, because there are lots of people who are out there practicing who are not adequately trained, and they can give us wrong advice, treat us in inappropriate ways. We're also living in a world, post-pandemic, after the pandemic,
where we've seen a surge in mental health problems, especially among young people. Depression, suicidal ideation, problems adjusting to school and so on. And we're seeing it, based on the number of persons young people who are coming forward for help. And what I want to advise parents, family members, teachers and so on, to recognize that our young people are having mental health challenges, and when they present, let us listen to them, respond to them in a non-judgmental manner, and most importantly, encourage them to seek help very early. It's very important, because too many young people have found that they have not been able to achieve their goals in studying or career goals because of mental illness and not having gotten treatment early in their illness. So I encourage us, encourage our young people, support them to seek help when it's necessary.
So I am one half of a sister team. This is my sister Michelle. We are, we're lots of things. We're restaurateurs, we have been caterers, we've been in the food business for the past 20-something years. Our father was also a hotelier and in the restaurant business, so we grew up in a functioning, operating restaurant just because we were around that environment a lot. And we perceive ourselves not as chefs, but as sort of translators and storytellers of the lifestyle. I think food is a source of unity and connectivity, because I think everyone can kind of go, over something delicious. Whether you're from Japan, Italy, or Jamaica, you can find commonality in the experience of something delicious. I think the magic of Jamaica is really sort of intertwined with the cuisine and the personality of the people and the music and the sort of the vibrant energy that you get. And yet that's completely and perfectly married in the cuisine, because the cuisine is a melange of traditional foods inherited from slavery and colonial days. It's fun, it's vibrant, it's energetic, and it really marries very well with the lifestyle that we have here. I think food is celebration, it's coming together, it's sharing, and I think very much in the Caribbean, it is very typical for families to gather, friends to gather, to celebrate over a meal. Caribbean culture and Jamaican culture is a culture of community and of celebration of life, even in hardship and even in hard times. And so I think all of those things just offer another kind of perspective. It's a unique way of living and a unique way of being.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Join us again tomorrow when we bring you another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via X at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the production crew, I'm Jabertha Atkinson. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.